Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and it's that time. We're going to recap the Mac Classic board. So what we'll do, we'll put the memory, because there's no capacitors on there and the corrosion hasn't affected that at all. It's in perfect condition, and I have got a spare one of these from the other Mac Classic, so we'll put that in the anti-static bag to keep it safe. And we'll get the board out, and basically what we've got to do is change those 4 capacitors there and those 4 capacitors there. As the battery hasn't leaked, if the battery had leaked and there was corrosion on the battery contacts, I'd whip that battery connector off and put a CR32 and do a little mod on there and put a CR32 battery on it. But as that's not leaked, I'm just going to order a brand new battery for it, because I believe those are still available. I'll just stick my glasses on so I can see it properly. So what we will do, first thing we'll do is we'll whip all the old, fortunately there's only 2 values of capacitors used on here. We've got 47 UF at 16 volts, and we've got a 1 UF at 30 volts there. I mean, it doesn't have to be 30 volts, it's not got 30 volts anywhere near it, but you've got 1 UF there. So what we'll do is we'll whip the capacitors off, then we'll clean the board. It'll be easier to give the board a really good cleaning with the capacitors out of there, because as I can see on the board here, there's a lot of leakage in this area here. There's a bit of leakage around there, if you remember from the previous video when we did that quick smell test. We know that there's, the capacitors have leaked quite badly onto the board. So we've got some isopropyl and we've got some acetic acid, so we can give the board a clean up. I am guessing it is an alkali that's in those capacitors. Generally, by the fishy smell that you get out of them, generally fishy smells are associated with alkalis. Right, I need my little tweezers. Where are my little tweezers? There they are. And I think what we'll do, we'll start with those 4 capacitors there. So what I'm going to do, turn the board to one side. I'm worried about melting that connector there, and my Captain tape still hasn't arrived from China. I'm going to have to try and chase that up because it's been a bit too long now. So I've just got a little aluminium plate here. I'm going to put that behind the capacitors, and I'll have to raise the board up a bit so I can actually work on it. So if I raise the board up on my screwdriver like that, that gives us where we can get in and lift the capacitors out, but we can still get in with the heat to actually get them out of there and get the heat going. And let's see how these capacitors come off the board. I've got a twist in my there we go, that's better. Hopefully that's not looking too bad. I forgot about that. Whenever I switch my heat gun with the overhead light on, it starts to strobe. I think I need some bigger capacitors in the power supply for the light. We'll see where we can carry on like that. Hopefully it doesn't pick it up too much on the camera. We'll start by warming the whole, like you saw me do on the 600 recap. We'll start by warming the area that we're going to work in before we actually go down and start lifting each capacitor off. We've got to be a bit careful because obviously we've got a big heat shield there, and that's going to be reflecting some of the heat back towards us. We'll start with you. Really starting to smell. There we go, that's the first one off. Move on to the next one. Ugh. The stench is horrible. This one's being stubborn as well. I don't like the way that capacitor's swelling either. Come on. You don't want to force it though, because you risk pulling a pad, and we really don't want to pull a pad. There we go, it's off. Just oh, that one's smouldered. I'm just going to move away just in case it goes pop, because sometimes they do. No, I don't think it's going to go pop. Let's get him out of the way, because that one was really swelling up on the top. That's always a bit of a bad sign. Let's get these two off. That one's off. Again, we'll just give that a sec, because that got really a bit warm. Let's get him out of the way. Out you come. And last but by no means least, let's get this one off. Ooh. Yeah, that one went with a bit of a pop. Just ooh, that's hot. That's very hot. Yeah, that last capacitor just started to pop as it come out then. Oh, it burnt my finger, that. Yeah, that last one come out with a bit of a I'll show you. If you look there, you can see how it's you see how it's ballooned up like that. Let's see if I can turn it so you can see. It didn't pop, but I'm always wary around capacitors, because well, if you've seen some of my other videos, you've seen things ping out of boards while I've been working on them. Right, we've got all those four off, and fortunately we don't seem to have lifted a pad doing that. We've come off quite nicely, so that area will have to give a good clean up to. The whole board's going to need a really good clean. I mean, I can see electrolyte damage even like up round here, all come from those four capacitors there. Right, so those are off. So we'll take these four off now. I will remove the battery before I come anywhere near this part of the board with the hot air. So we'll just pop the battery out, because that would be a bit daft. We'll put him out of the way. I'm not too worried about melting anything around here. I think I can be reasonably confident about avoiding those switches. I can be reasonably confident about avoiding that. I'm not going to be getting that close to it. We'll get those two off first, I think, and then we'll go for those two there. And my tweezers have cooled off a bit, so I can actually touch them properly again. Got a little bit warm getting those those four off. Right. So we'll just go in and we'll just warm warm the whole area of the board first. I mean, there are proper like preheating plates and things for doing this, for bringing the whole board up to a nice even work temperature, but for the amount that you know, hobbyists like me does, not really justifiable. And if you're careful, you're not in too much danger of warping the board. That's that one off. That's that one off. Right, we've got these two last, and that's all the old capacity off the board, and we can get up to actually doing some clean-up work. We'll go for that little 1 UF next and get him off the board, and then we can get that last 47 UF off. That's off the board. And that one's off the board. Right, there we go. That is all the old, rather smelly, leaky electrolytics removed. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to clean them pads up before we actually go in and really start cleaning the board up. The only reason I'm going to do that is, I'm thinking, actually, I mean, these are fairly flat, but what you don't want is any little, like on that one where there's a little bit of solder stuck up, because you could risk, when you're going along with your Q-tip cleaning up, just snagging on that and possibly ripping the pad. We don't want to be ripping a pad at this stage, because so far we've actually done quite well. So I'm going to get a little bit of solder braid. Where's my solder braid gone? Where's my solder braid? There it is. I'll get a bit of solder braid. Cut a piece of that off. And we'll get some flux, and we'll flux it up like that. Just makes it work that little bit better. I'm just going to spin the board around. I mean, it won't matter for you because I've got the camera above, but it just makes it a little bit easier for me to see what I'm doing. Right, I'll get the old soldering iron. I need a little bit of solder. Where's my solder? Where's my solder gone? There's some solder. I'll just tin the end of the iron, just a tiny touch of solder on it, just to wet it. Just helps with conduction, thermal conduction. And we're just going to clean over these pads. Just get any old solder, because it's all contaminated anyway. Just clean it off. Like that. Just add a tiny touch more flux. Now, I'm not that impressed with this new tube of flux that I've got. I prefer the old one, but it's it's only got a few dregs left in it. I can't seem to find that one. I think I got it from Maplin's. So we won't be finding it again, I don't think. Just gently clean them off. It's almost got like a film on them. In fact, what we might have to do is just add a little bit of fresh solder to them just to help them flow. And then wick that back off. And hopefully this time they'll clean up. There we go. That's better. There we go. Those ones aren't so bad actually. It's nice and flat. So we're just making sure they're nice and flat, so when we go in and do the cleaning, we're not going to risk pulling a pad by snagging it. We'll re-tin all these properly after. That's not bad at all. I think we can now safely go in and give this a really good clean. Put the iron away. Right. Excuse me. Right, I suppose it's acetic acid time, and we'll have a really good clean up. This is where we're going to probably go through a lot of Q-tips. There they are. I wonder what the hell I've done with them then. Right, let's start with the acetic acid. I know a few people said you shouldn't use it on boards, but like I said, providing you clean it off, it really is the best thing for neutralising alkali. We'll start right over here. This is how far the alkali is actually spread on the board. Plus, I'm not unconvinced that this may have at some point been used by a smoker, and there is a certain smoke film, or it was in a smokier, contaminated environment, you know, somewhere with like an oily atmosphere or something. There's definitely a residue all over the board, which I don't think is just down to the leaking capacitors. I think there's something else where, I mean, that's just the first quick little go over it. The whole board is really dirty. First Q-tip. Good job I bought some new ones last time I was in town. They are a different brand, so I'll have to see how well they work. I know some brands work better than others. Some brands are awful. As soon as you use them for work like this, they just shed everywhere. I tend to use the Johnson & Johnson ones. They seem to be pretty good. But these, Body Care's home brand ones I've got this time. So we'll have to, when I've run out of this lot of Johnson & Johnsons, we'll have to see how the Body Care ones, sorry, work. This is pretty nasty, the amount of electrolyte that's look, 2 Q-tips down. I am going to make you sit and watch. Well, you can. I mean, you've got fast forward features on YouTube, haven't you? So you can fast forward or speed me up going through all this, but few viewers have commented that they like to see me, you know, do it all on film, like, so on camera. So I am going to in this one. You're going to see me do every bit of cleaning on this board. I don't know how much talking there's going to be though, because I do have to actually concentrate doing this. Yeah, everything's filthy. Look at the amount of crud that's just come off the top of that that IC there. That's the 68,000. Absolutely filthy. We're feeling everything on this board is going to be the same. Very, very dirty. Well, in fact, I'll just clean half that IC there. And you'll see the difference when that dries off. Let's carry on across the board. We're going to have to get the old fiberglass pen in here as well and clean some of these IC legs up because they're pretty green. Around here is very bad. Yeah. One thing though, having this film over it, I presume the film was there before the capacitor leakage. It's actually meaning that the residue from the capacitor seems to be coming off really easily. It's filthy in this area, but it's not sticking anywhere near as bad as I've seen it do in the past. It's coming off quite easily, really. And I wonder if that's down to this film that's on the board, probably from before the capacitors leak, if that film's from when this was in regular use. You can just see it lifting the muck off. That's 4. If you look at that white piece there, if we just clean along there, you can see it's coming white again. That's how much crud has built up on this particular board. I think we've been really lucky with this board actually, and we've caught it just in the nick of time. There doesn't seem to be any serious, I mean, looking at some of these traces around here, where all the really nasty, icky corrosion is from them capacitors. They don't seem to be have really affected the traces all that much. It's an absolute lifesaver that that battery hasn't leaked. It would be far, a completely different story if that real-time clock battery had leaked and we was dealing with the acid, well, the very strong alkali from the battery. Because I don't think we'll have to remove that sticker. It's coming off. I don't think it had anything vital on it anyway. But yeah, feel free to speed this up or fast forward through it if watching me scrub away at a board isn't your thing. So we'll be getting on to putting some new capacitors on there as soon as I've got this looking something like. I've been playing with my Mac LC since I got that monitor up and running on it. And I've been getting some software off the internet, some old games and what have you, and using my bridge computer to get them over onto over onto that. And one cool thing I found, I didn't know about this, but even if it's like a 400k disk image, you can use the bridge computer, providing that the Mac you're going to try to load it on has got a 1.44 meg disk drive in it. Even if it's a 400k image, you can actually write it to that 1.44 meg disk. It doesn't, I mean, it comes up with an error that there's excess space on the disk, but actually when you put it in the Mac will read it, which meant that I've been able to transfer a few of the earlier Mac games that were on 400k disks. I think I've got Grid Runner working over. I did that the other day. I got Grid Runner, which is a 400k file. Which were with the original 400k single-sided double density disc to run on the LC. So that means that hopefully I can use the LC. I'm not sure what my other my Mac Classic's no problem, because I think my Mac Classic has a 1.44 meg drive in it, so we should easily get software over onto the Mac Classic. But my even earlier Mac, I can't remember if it's a Mac Plus or it's a Mac 512 or even expanded Mac 128. I know it's an early Mac I've got up in the attic. I don't know if that's got a 400 and 800k floppy drive in it. Obviously it's got a 400, we're going to have problems, but if it's got an 800k floppy in it, we should be able to make a system disk using that LC to actually boot that, and we should have some bits of software, some games and stuff we can actually run on it to test it out. That's looking a lot cleaner than it was. Let's get some more on the old Q-tip and let's go in again. Acetic acid's only about 40-50p for just over half a litre, so you can go, you can use plenty of it. The only thing you don't want to do is let it sit on the board like overnight or anything, because obviously it is an acid and it will corrode copper. It will corrode any ferrous metal. But I tell you what, it's even getting the some of these vias that were looking very dull and very green. I was going to think I was going to have to go over them all with the fiberglass pen. Just the acetic acid is taking a lot of the tarnish off them. It's actually bringing them back up shiny. It's bringing all the capacitor leakage off them. I'm surprised at that. Like I said, I was expecting to have to go in really with the fiberglass pen to get that off. See, I'm quite enjoying messing with these old Macs. It's something I've not played with an old Mac really seriously since I had that other LC back in the late 90s. I got that old Mac. I got that back in probably, I think, the very late 90s. But never really did anything with it. I just bought it. I bought that and my 5150 at a car boot sale from the same seller. I think I paid £1 each. No, did I pay £1 each for them or £10 each for them? I can't remember now, but it wasn't very much I paid for them. And so that was back before any of this stuff was valuable. Right, I'm just going to turn the board around because I want to see down the other side there. But the board's already looking significantly cleaner than it was. What I might do, I'm just going to have another go with some acetic acid down here where now I can see a bit better, and some of the places I couldn't see where I had the board flipped the other way around. And then we're going to go over the whole thing with some isoprop and a little brush and just give it a good brush down. And then we'll go in possibly with a couple of clean Q-tips and just have a quick polish up, and then we'll have a look at the fitting of the new capacitors. Right, so I'll go in there, give in there a bit of a jolly old scrub. few places I've probably missed when I had the board sitting the other way around. Yeah, definitely. Look, really is quite filthy dirty, this board. Let's get the other side of that. Yeah, da dum da dum. Yeah. Yeah, that looked really bad, and it's just cleaned right up. It's actually doing a fantastic job on the green on these component legs here. Again, I thought I was going to have to go in with the fiberglass pen to clean them up, but the acetic acid's just lifting all the green off there. Just rub it over a couple of times, and I'll see if I can zoom you down so I can show you this. It's quite good, really. Let's get you down. Come on. Oops. Come on, focus. Right. I've just done that side there, and can you see how nice and clean those are? Now, if you just go over this side here, all I've got is a bit of acetic acid on the Q-tip. Look at that. Look like new again. Same with that side. Yeah. That works really, really well. Right, we'll get you, oops, we'll get you zoomed back out again. There we go. And we're just going to go in with some isoprop now and the little brush, and we're going to do the whole board with isoprop and the little brush. And basically what we're doing is we're just trying to remove the acetic acid now. Now it's done its job. We basically wipe the board back down with isoprop to remove it all. Try and scrub it in around all the where the electrolytes basically attack the board. We give it a good scrub round, so we don't want any electrolyte to remain, you know, like between legs and where we can't get. It'll keep slowly rotting the board away, and after we've done all this work, we don't really want that, do we? I mean, the ideal thing would be to have a big ultrasonic cleaning bath and submerge the entire board in a large ultrasonic cleaning bath. I do keep thinking about that actually, because I have got a transducer, basically the big power amplifier. It's a massive big Class D, I think, amplifier that's specifically designed to drive an ultrasonic cleaning bath. I got 2 of them from a boot sale a few years ago and sold one for quite a tidy sum of money actually, considering what I paid for them. But I kept one. It's up in the attic, so I'd have to get the transducers and a stainless steel tank. But I could possibly build quite a decent size ultrasonic cleaning tank for cleaning these boards off. Basically, you'd fill it with deionized water or isoprop or something. Well, my isoprop might be a little bit dangerous, although I have used that in my small ultrasonic cleaning tank before, and I'm still here. I've not blown myself up. That's not looking bad at all. I think we've actually pretty much got rid of all the corrosion. I think it's pretty much gone. Even them wires are looking pretty healthy now. They have not even, like I said, I've not even gone in with the fiberglass pen on them. I've literally just used the acetic acid and the isopropyl. Right, let's give it a really good clean wipe down with some just dry cotton buds. It'll give us an indication of how clean we've actually got the board anyway. It's not perfect. So, I think most of this is coming off the top of the chips actually. It's not looking too bad. The board is certainly looking a lot cleaner than it did. It's looking pretty good down there now. I think we've got rid of all the leaky electrolyte from around there. That's looking fairly decent now. Let's get another Q-tip. Yeah, that's looking good there. Yeah, it's still getting a little bit of muck coming off the board, but we're many magnitudes better than we were. I mean, round there's nice and clean now. I'm just amazed that there's no real damage to any of the... Oh, I can't see any damage to any of these tracers. I was expecting to find at least some little bits of damage, but they all look really, really good. Really good. Clock crystal's legs look a little bit iffy. Let's perhaps resort to the fiberglass on them. There we go. They look okay now. I think I'm just going to go over these pads. Oh, those are shining up nicely. Those are shining up very nice. Let's try these next two. We'll be adding a little bit of extra solder to these, obviously, before we add the new components, but those have come up really well. Just give that a quick dab over, just get rid of some of the fluff from doing that. But yep, those will look nice. Let's have a look at doing these two. So we'd already taken any little hooky bits of high spots off these with the soldering iron and the solder braid before, so providing we're careful, we can easily just polish them up. Yeah, they're shining up nicely. I'm not going to say anything yet because I don't want to jinx myself. But so far, so good. Okay. Right, so I'm quite happy that those will take the new components. They've cleaned up really nicely, and I can't see any sign of any damage to the actual traces of the board. They look really good. I'm just going to spin the board around just to make it a little bit easier for me. I'm just going to do the same and just have a quick clean up with the fiberglass pen along these. And then we'll literally look at putting the new capacitors in place. That's okay there. A tiny little bit of corrosion to the end of that pad, but it's not terrible at all. Just have a quick go. There's one via there that looked a little bit on the manky side, but actually no, it's cleaned up, it's absolutely fine. I'll just carry on going down here and clean these up. Again, there's a few vias there that they're not bad, but we can easily improve them with the fiberglass pens, so seeing as we're going all the way along, we might as well. Okay. Those are all looking pretty good now. Right, let me get some good solder. Where is my really good solder? There's my really good solder. Which is a very old, very fine solder, this. I'll try not, because I've only got the one raw, try not to use it for many things, but for working on stuff like this I will use a piece. Right, where's my thing for switching my iron? My bench needs a tidy, it's full of clutter. I just need my my iron cleaner. Iron clean, quick tin with the good stuff. And what we'll do is just go in and we'll tin up them pads before we start. So a little bit of fresh solder on each one. There we go. That's those. We might as well do them all while we're here. There's a very, very good flux built into this this solder. I presume it's like a really old. It smells like a really old rosin type flux. And you get a really nice, solder with it. But I only have the one roll of it, so I am quite sparing with it. Right, let us get the new capacitors. Okay, now we want 47 UF, and we want 1 UF, don't we? 220. Those are ones. Those are 47s. Right, so we want, these are the 47 UF. They are actually slightly physically smaller than the there we go. Those are the 47 UFs. And these are the 1 UFs. said the one UF's actually exactly the same size as the old one. It's a slightly higher voltage rating, but I mean that means nothing. That doesn't matter at all. It's the value that's important. You just don't want to go under on the voltage rating. But the 47s are the correct voltage rating, the 16 volt, the same as the old ones, but they're actually physically smaller. I don't think it's going to cause us an issue, actually. It's not going to cause us any harm, but it is something to remember when you're ordering new capacitors, that as the technologies improve, the size of the capacitor in relation to its voltage ratings have usually decreased, and it's usually decreased quite a bit, actually. And it can be an issue sometimes on through-hole stuff, especially the capacitor's supposed to mount flush to the board, and the pin spacings no longer line up. It's nothing insurmountable, but it is a thing. Right, let's get these out of here. Oops. Well, I suppose those two are really eager to get on the board, aren't they? They're jumping out already, ready to get on the board. Let's get them two out. Right. And I think we're just going to have to orientate them. And basically what we're going to do is we will bring the iron in, we'll melt one side. We'll bring the capacitor in place like that, and then we'll solder the other side. So I've been watching Adrian's Digital Basement, and it's a technique he seems to use while fitting surface mounts, and it does seem to work quite nicely, so I don't mind borrowing other people's techniques if it works. So basically heat the pad up, get the capacitor in place. Oops, that didn't work. There we go. That's not the best. I think I'm going to have to redo that. There we go, that's better. And just solder the other side. There we go. We'll just go in and neaten this side up a bit. There we are. That's the first one in place. Right, number two. Let's get it the right way around. Pick him up. I think I want to go over with that a little bit. There we go. Just a tiny touch more. See, the problem is that the new capacitors are a tiny little bit smaller than the old ones, so the pads obviously aren't quite right. What I'll have to do, that one's a little bit raised on this side. I'll just press down on it gently with the, there we go. You see it go down then? I'll just do the same on this one. There we go, that's better. Just get them absolutely perfect, shall we? Well, as near as damn it to perfect as I can get them. Right, let's get another one out. Fortunately, all these go in the same way, so let's not make the mistake that I made when I was doing the 600 board and put one in the wrong way. That's okay there. Again, we'll just heat this side up, push down slightly. Perfect. That side's just got a little bit of a peak on it. Let's just sort that out. There we go. Let's get another one out. Okay. There we go, that one's in. So I'll just add another tiny touch of solder on this side. It just needs a tiny touch, there we go. Right, so we've got a 47 and then we've got the 1 UF there. So I've got one more 47 in here. Let's get you out. And get this one on the board. A little bit harder to position, but we'll do it. That's in. Just turn the board round. I'll just hold you down. Oh, there we go. That'll just needs a tiny touch more solder on there. Like that. Let's just touch that one up. There we go. That one's in. Right, let's stick the 1 UF in now. Just put my iron down a sec while I get that out. Make sure that's the 1 UF, yes it is. Let's get one of them out. Come on. Don't be awkward. Try to peel the little window back and not rip the whole thing so they all drop out of the packet. There we go. One extracted. And that goes in the same way, lovely. So let's get you. And we'll stick you in like that. Okay. That's that side down. Just turn the board so I can see what I'm doing again. There we go. Not quite straight, that one. Let me just there we are. That's better. Not as happy with that one as the others, but I'm not unhappy enough to take it back off the board, so he'll do nicely. Right, last two. Let's get two more 47s out of the packets. Come on, out you come. There we go, that's two more 47s. And get the capacitor. There we go. You can go there. Turn it so I can get in here. There we go. That's that one in. Last capacitor. Now, very, very, very nearly just put that capacitor in the wrong way round then. And that would have been a laugh, the last one, wouldn't it? I spotted my mistake. There we go, that's that one in. Spin it round again, just so I can get to that last. I'll just push him down and solder that. There we go, we'll just add a little touch of solder to that last connection. There we go. Right, so that's all the new capacitors installed in the Classic board. So I suppose we can, doesn't really matter not having a battery in there, does it? We'll stick the battery back in just for completeness for now. Right, what I will do is I will just fetch the, that's all the Q-tips we've just, well, it's not all of them, there's even some more even here. Oh, ugh. Both sides, and the ones that I've dropped. So that was a pretty filthy board. Right, like I say, I'll pause the video, I'll get you set up on the other tripod, and we'll get the actual Mac Classic in here. We'll plug the board back in, and we'll see where we're at. So back in a sec. Okay, we're back, and I've got the Mac Classic chassis back in here. Now, I haven't done any extra work to this since you saw it last. It's still covered in rust and everything. But I just thought I just want to see if what we've done to the board has made it boot a hard drive. To be honest, I'm not expecting it to. I'm not expecting us to put this back in here and the hard drive fire up. I think there's something actually wrong with the hard drive. But what we could do is we could pull the hard drive out of my Mac LC. And because that's running system 6.1 or something like that, I think it should run on here. It'll at least show us that the actual SCSI controller and everything on board is actually functioning, and might actually be able to test the disk drive and a few other things. So we'll get it connected up. We'll just do a really bare bones connect as well. I won't even bother putting the extra RAM in or anything. I just want to connect the floppy drive and hard drive up, and I'm just curious to see whether there is any life in this hard drive or not. Like I said, if this doesn't work, we'll go and get the hard drive out of my LC. And we'll just for curiosity's sake, really, see whether the computer will actually boot with that hard drive in it. It'd be really cool if it does, because basically it'll mean that this is basically working, and we just need to sort a hard drive out for it, or at least see if we can possibly get the hard drive that's in there maybe working, if that's possible. Let's plug some power into it. We've got to be a bit careful, obviously, because obviously it's open at the back and everything. In fact, what we'll do is we'll switch the power off at the wall there. We will switch the Mac on, and then we'll switch it on at the wall, so we're nowhere near the back of the Mac when we actually apply power to it. So let's switch on. And hopefully it's no worse than it was when we started. And we do have the cursor. I'm guessing it's just going to come up with the Mac flashing disk again. We shall. Yeah, it's coming up with the disk question mark, just like it was before. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause you for a second. I'm going to pop the hard drive out of my Mac LC, and we'll just see whether it can boot to that hard drive. So back in a sec. Okay, so I've pulled the hard drive from my Mac LC. Now that's dead easy on an LC, because basically you can access the hard drive and pull it out without a screwdriver. It's all just clips. We know this hard drive works, and I think the operating system on it should be compatible with this Classic. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to go and rip the hard, because that's going straight back in my LC. This is just a quick test. So we also have the hard drive out of my other Mac Classic. That's an unknown quantity, but again, that could be okay. I think what we'll do, we need to connect this up obviously in the right orientation, but I don't want to risk it shorting on anything behind the computer. We'll plug it in like that, we'll plug the power into it, and we'll just have to like balance it on the back of the computer and then turn the thing. I think we should be okay if we're careful. I really don't want to risk damaging that that hard drive, because it is the hard drive that works really nicely with my in my LC. I mean, it's tiny. It's 40 megabytes, I think. Yeah, it is. It's a 40 megabyte hard drive. So we've got the LC disconnected. We might as well pinch its keyboard and mouse, just in case something something miraculous happens and this works. Let's make sure we've got the right port to plug. Yeah, it's this one here, isn't it? Get the keyboard and mouse plugged in. So we've got the hard drive rather precariously balanced behind, but it should be alright. Let's switch on and we'll see what, if anything, happens. At least we get a happy Mac beep out of it. We've got a smiley Mac. System 7.1 needs more memory to start up, but that's an improvement. We've got something. Right, I'm going to switch off, and we've got the RAM upgrade here. Let's shove that in. I thought this was System 6. I was sure this was System 6 on here, but it's obviously 7.1. I weren't sure if 7.1 had run on one of these classics. I'm really not well up with Macs. I don't know what systems will really run on what Macs. I know that the very early ones are limited to, I think 6 is the biggest they'll boot. I wasn't sure about these. Right, so we've got extra RAM in it now. I think 1 meg on board plus 2 plus 8. I think it might have 10 meg of RAM, this one. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's got 10 meg of RAM. Right, let's see what happens this time. Hopefully we got that all the way in. Oh, hang on. Let's see. Got a happy Mac. Can hear the hard drive doing something. Welcome to Macintosh. I think this is the same speed as my Mac LC. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they both just run a stock 68,000 CPU. There's nothing, you know, it's not like an 030 or anything in there. Now, to be fair, it would have probably booted by just sticking the hard drive in. Obviously, we've got a defective hard drive. We'll do another video on that at a later date. I do want to see if I can get the original hard drive fired up in this thing, but fine, you know, we've got another spare hard drive. It's unknown, but in the next video we can perhaps look at that. Okay, I'm not sure about. I presume this isn't the same CPU then. Does the LC have something a bit quicker in it? But that seems to be working. That's my Macintosh hard drive there, so it's definitely running nicely on my hard drive. I suppose it'd be rude not to at least run a game on it, wouldn't it? Now, this is a game I was playing on my LC the other night, and it absolutely cracks me up that they even bothered porting this over here. Hopefully this looks going to run on here, we'll see. Actually, that looks better on that monitor there than it does on my LC, on that modern LC. That looks far nicer. Oh wow. It looked pretty awful, this actually, when I was playing it the other night on my LC, on that modern LCD monitor. That doesn't look bad at all. That looks quite nice actually. I might be a bit turned round, but I think this game needs to, yeah. This game certainly needs the older screen. It doesn't look nice on an LCD, on a Mac this. Not on my LC anyway. It runs a bit slow, a damn sight slower than it does on my LC, but it actually does seem to play. Let's see. Come on. Oh, those are very, very slow lemmings. And that's very slow music. Poor old lemmings. It looks like they've had a really bad time. At least it shows it runs, but dear, dear me. I think it needs a slightly faster Mac, this. Oh, we've got to put them out of their misery. In fact, this might be fun as it is. Let's nuke them. Tell you what, I mean, I'm impressed with the graphics. It's just a damn shame that the CPU's so damn slow on it. It really does make it unplayable, unfortunately. It plays nicely speed-wise on my LC, but it's really, really, really let down by the that LCD monitor. It makes the graphics awful on it. That looks quite nice. It's just a shame it's not playable. Let's see if we can get out of that one. Where's escape? How would you get out? Oh, well, we're stuck in here, aren't we? Oh well, never mind. How on earth do you get out of it? Can't remember what I did. Right, I think I'm going to leave it there now anyway. It looks like we have pretty good success, like I said, with obviously the cap replacement's gone fine. We seem to have an issue with the old hard drive, but we thought we'd probably have an issue with the whole old hard drive anyway. But the Mac itself does seem to work. We've got a reasonably bright screen. It's very crisp, it's very sharp. I'm quite pleased with that. I've not even attempted to adjust it. We've done no work on the analog board yet. I think the next thing, I'm going to have to switch that off. That's really getting on my nerves now. Where's reset on this thing? It's on the other side, isn't it? Can you reach the reset? There we go. That's better. It should boot back up. So now we've got a viable project. I think in the next video we'll investigate the old hard drive in here, see if we can do anything with that. If we can't, we'll pull the hard drive out of the other Mac Classic and see if that's any good. If that's no good, I've got one more SCSI hard drive which is just about viable for this thing. It's a gigabyte. It's a bit on the big side, but it's the best I think I've got at the moment. We'll have a go, see if we can get that one working on it, but that will obviously involve installing System 7 or System 6 or something on it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Hope you enjoyed this little rather long Mac Classic update. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.